60 incidents of violence are still reported by prostitutes every month. As they commemorate the International Day to End Violence Against Sex Workers, campaigners like Alex Feast-Bryce from the National Ugly Mugs charity think government and authorities are doing close to nothing to protect sex workers in Britain.
I think the biggest barrier to sex workers reporting to the police is the actions of the police themselves. So in areas where police pursue enforcement, whether that's arresting sex workers, raiding brothels, or even arresting the clients of sex workers are far less likely to report to the police. And our statistics that we collect demonstrate that. Primarily, the thing that could change things the most would be decriminalisation of sex work, which obviously we only have in New Zealand and a part of Australia. But they've really seen the relationship with the sex workers and the police improving, but also sex workers there are more able to advocate for their kind of working rights, as workers, as part of the labour market. And I think that's the main change that we would advocate for.
National Ugly Mugs figures show that in some areas only 2 or 3% of sex workers who've experienced some form of violence will report it to the police. And sex workers agree.
I was dealing with a local person who was stalking and harassing myself. And it was during the part of my life before I had my British citizenship. And so even though there's no direct necessarily link between a police report and the Home Office, I did not feel confident reporting this stalking and harassing activity to the police because I didn't want to become known to the police as a sex worker. So I didn't feel like the police were there for me, that it would be more risky for me to talk to them than to just try to take steps to deal with the stalking situation on my end. So I became very isolated in my house. I didn't feel comfortable going out because I felt unprotected from this stalker.
But not everyone believes decriminalisation, or decrim, is the best solution to the problem.
We all get accused of blood on our hands for the women. Are they having a laugh? We work tirelessly as women to save women's lives. I have a project to do prevention and early intervention with devastated kids. Okay? So no, we don't believe it should all be decriminalised. We believe women, the victims, should be decriminalised. And the pimps and the johns and the traffickers and the madams should be criminalised.
The one thing that all campaigners agree on, however, is that the situation needs to change, and rapidly.
In the realms of reality that we have now, I think policing needs to be focused on sex workers as people who can be targeted by offenders. So they need to open up dialogue with sex workers, and try and build trust with sex workers. And in areas where they are doing that, it's a huge difference.